very appropriate in light of everything that's happened in Charlestown since last Thursday for us to begin by just taking a moment of silence to remember Sergeant Ben Bertram and his family and all of our law enforcement officers, especially the Charlestown Police Department, as they deal with this loss. Please just bow your heads and take a moment of silence and give them some calm. Thank you so much. Wow. Welcome. As I look out across this audience, I am relieved to see some Democrats, some Republicans, and some independents among you. I'm relieved because I think that all of us here represent the most optimistic vision of what we can become. The issues facing Charlestown today transcend party lines. You're told that we're a city on the move, but I have an unsettling feeling that what we're moving toward is not progress, but stagnation. The decisions of our current leadership are spending very important tax revenue in places that are frivolous and unnecessary. Poor decision-making and failed contract negotiations have cost us over $10,000 just within a few months. Real estate investments gone awry have decreased our net assessed value for property tax revenue considerations by over $3 million already. And the legal fees that are being used to defend the city against its own disastrous redevelopment plan have far exceeded $500,000 and went up by another $66,000 only a week ago. They continue to rise. I don't think this is the direction we thought we would head after the last election. And I think it's time that we begin to reevaluate the trajectory of Charlestown and ask ourselves, are we headed for resilient development or deterioration? I think we have to begin to ask questions about what's happening to the people among us. I don't know that we can boast of progress when some of our number are being stripped of their equal protection and private property rights. And I don't think that we can brag about progress when the process is shrouded by secrecy. I think it's time that we have to ask ourselves if the freedoms that are afforded us in our state and federal constitutions still matter. You see, I believe that the government is beholden to the people that it represents. And this is the issue facing our upcoming election. Whom does the mayor serve? You're going to be asked over the next year to make some choices. You're going to be presented with left and right, Democrat, Republican, tattoos or none. I'm just going to ask you to not let the tribalism that seems to be rampant in our society divert you from the main purpose of setting Charlestown back on the right direction. I'll ask you not to let those harsh divisions continue to spread animosity among us and damage our relationships, because you deserve better. You deserve a leader who will foster community cohesion, not strain your friendships, cost you customers or business partnerships, or destroy your family relationships. My campaign is built upon the notion of keeping Charlestown first. And doing so begins with establishing financial accountability. We have to set our finances in order before we can achieve anything else. In August of 2017, the city entered a contract for $60,000 for an agent who promised you plans for a sports complex within 120 days. Shortly after receiving their first $15,000 payment, that group left town. And the plans for the sports complex never materialized. Nor have you even received an update on the status of that project. This lack of attention to specific details in our finances is just one example of the way that we don't currently have financial accountability in our city. Governments shouldn't be seeking complete and total control. That is the wrong way to govern the people who have put you in office. Because when you do that, you inherently sacrifice the values of free market and fairness, and you instead go towards manipulation and economic mismanagement. It's time that we open Charlestown to fair development. When the city put out a request for qualifications on the Renaissance project, not a single developer responded. So our best practices put us in a weakened position where we have to beg developers to come here. And that's not right. We have to give them a firm foundation upon which they want to build. So we have to stop spending money on wasteful things that don't turn around an economic improvement and instead strengthen our infrastructure first. As we look towards this development, we've got to do so strategically. You've been told that Charlestown is going to be the best bedroom community in southern Indiana. I'm here to tell you that's a horrible idea. Because we don't want people coming to Charlestown just to sleep at night. Almost 80 years ago, the direction of our town changed from one of agriculture and recreation to industry. The Indiana Army ammunition plant brought a boom, but left a long-standing scar. If we want to recover from this, if we want to help Charlestown thrive, then we have to look for recreational, artistic, and cultural, commercial activities that bring people here who want to live here, play here, shop here, work here, and rest here. But we can't do that without strong social services too. And so as tempting as it is to look at only the positive things that could come out of redevelopment, we can't hide from those things that are a little unsavory or maybe even a little scary. Which is why my platform includes looking at social services and the role that they can play in helping us address things like the opioid crisis that's plaguing our communities. Now, all of these things that I've named have to happen in complete and total transparency. Right off the bat, first thing, we must reopen public comment in our Common Council meetings by rescinding Resolution 2016 R3 because it stifles your expression as citizens. Public information like budgets and spending have to be more easily accessible for all of us. It seems novel, but agendas should be made publicly available before the meetings. And meetings can be streamed online through various social media networks like many of our sister communities do. And when those meetings are over and the minutes have been approved at the next meeting, those minutes should be accurate, thorough, and then posted quickly on the website so that everyone can see who wasn't there to attend. Now, I am very committed to transparency, and to demonstrate what I mean, I'm also going to add quarterly town hall type meetings that I'm calling my community table. Over a shared meal, I'll provide the main dish. You guys all bring a potluck to kick in. We can talk about our ideas, we can celebrate our successes, and we can work through our challenges and get to know each other and foster that true community spirit that I think is lying underneath what we have right now. I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to address you today. It's not nighttime. I'm jumping ahead.
It will be an hour. So.
There you go. It's all good, right? If you want to read more about my platform and the issues, be sure and visit the website, trevaformayor.com. But hey, even better, come see me at my campaign office at 904 Main Street. That way you can sit down and talk to me about the issues that are most important to you specifically. And I can give you the answers. Or if I don't have them right away, I can just be honest and say, I don't know right now. but I'll find out for you. Today's a day that we get to enjoy the warmth of the holiday season in this wonderful, wonderful home. And I am so glad that you are here with me. January brings official filing dates, and I am ready to hit this campaign trail running. There'll be plenty of times along the way that you can talk to me, figure out if you're on board, and decide who's going to earn your vote next year. But right now, I want to answer what I think is the most important question, and that's, why should you vote for me? I have no political experience. I'm not a typical candidate. And let's face it, y'all, Charlestown's never had a mayor that looked like me before.
That's all right, that's all right.
But I am the most qualified person to lead us into the progress that we so deserve. My extended resume has everything from mucking out barn stalls to managing major projects at a regional bank. And my most long-term career plan has put me as a teacher in the university classroom. And I've enjoyed my time educating and mentoring young adults. And along the way, I've developed some skills that are going to give me the strength I need to be your servant in public. I have hard skills, right? The skills you learn to get you through things. So I can do database management, project planning, statistical analysis. I'm a heck of a good researcher. But along the way, I've also picked up compassion and a strong sense of empathy. See, my leadership style is one that favors civility and cooperation and collaboration. And I am ready, I am so ready to put all of these skills to use serving you as your mayor. I am prepared to do this. I am prepared to help move Charlestown forward by what? Putting Charlestown first. So thank you for coming out today to spend some time. Get to introduce some people that I think you're going to find very interesting. From the moment I announced, I've been listening to the currents to find out if we were going to have a nice strong slate of Democrat candidates to run along with me to help bring us into the vision that we so desperately want to see. And so I'm very excited to cede the floor for a little while to Tina Barnes.
Don't remember stuff like she does, so I brought mine, especially when I'm in front of everyone. So, good afternoon, everyone. I will be running for re-election this coming year, but not for city council. I'm seeking the position of clerk treasurer. I feel with my accounting degree, my many years work in the physician's offices, balancing their books and their budgets, working with the insurance companies, this will lend me the strength that I need to fulfill this position. Over the last 3 years, I feel that I have proven myself to you, to be a hard worker. What I don't know, I will research and learn, that I'm not afraid to take on new endeavors. When I ran for council, someone came to me and said, I know you're passionate for Pleasant Ridge, but that's to save your home. Will you be just as passionate for the rest of your district? My very quick response was yes. I believe that I've kept my word to that. Not only have I proven that for my entire district, and not only for my town, but for my nation. Yes, everyone knows that I fight hard for Pleasant Ridge, but also my other constituents. They've called me, I've went to them and met, I've listened, and I've tried to make sure that their voices have also been heard. In the past 3 years, I have twice traveled to Washington, D.C. I have spoken in front of a committee for the House of Representatives in regards to private property rights, to plead for a change that would impact the nation. I also was a guest speaker for the Institute for Justice, and that was to speak on behalf of our neighborhood. Just this past October, I traveled to Utah, where again, I was a guest speaker at a national convention, and I spoke about the negative impact of excessive fining. I will bring this passion to the position of clerk, and I will work alongside Treva to bring a true transparency to our town. Treva may not be a native to our town, but for almost 6 years now, she's lived among us. She has proven to be an advocate for us by attending all city meetings, recording them, and sharing them with us. She may not be a native, but she sure has the passion of one. I believe by working with her and others of like value, we can put the town back into Charlestown.
You see why I'm excited? I also get the joy of introducing some folks who have decided to commit to running for council so that they too can represent you. And since Tina has made her big announcement, we'll go first by looking at the person who's going to step in and run in her place in her district. And that's Angela Cornett.
Yay! Hello, I'm Angela Cornett. I have no speech to follow these two ladies. I've watched Tina lead in her seat, and I plan on leading just like her, running for District 2 City Council. That's Precinct 3 and 4. So I'm here to listen. I hope to follow good steps in Tina's footsteps and make Charlestown good again. Bring it back to the small community that it's always been, and I was raised here in this community. So pretty excited.
It's also really important to have a wonderful at-large person, someone with experience, someone who's ready to pick up and get going, someone who knows the ins and outs of running a public service department. Although no city experience, the experience of this next candidate is more than I can even begin to say. So let me just introduce her and let it out. So our at-large candidate is going to be Ms. Treva Hodges.
Yay!
Really not prepared a speech, but I thought I would tell you something about myself to help you. I want you to vote your mind, and I think I bring some qualifications to the table. My name is Treva Hodges. I moved here in 1963, graduated from Charlestown High in 1971, attended Indiana University in Bloomington and then Southeast. I married a local guy, Steve Brading, and we have 2 daughters, and I have 5 wonderful granddaughters. I am retired now, but my career path took me through working for the city of Charlestown, a total of 5 years. And then I left there and served on the River Hills Economic Development District, their board of directors. And when they had an opening, I was invited to leave the board and become an employee. So for another 5 years, I worked for River Hills Regional Plan Commission. And while I was there, friends I had made through the state, Indiana Department of Commerce, Community Development Division, asked my boss if he would be offended if I applied. And he was not, so I applied, and I then went on to work 11 years for Indiana Department of Commerce in their CDBG block grant program. They had some personal tax credit programs and some others. But you know, my training is all community development. How do you develop a community and what makes one community better than another? After 11 years there, I was asked to go to work for the federal government, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and their Community Programs Division. And I worked another 11 years for that, and that was primarily loans, a lot of bond issues and promissory notes for water and sewer. But I have worked with hundreds of cities and towns and even counties and water districts in this region, and I have a good background of what good government can do for you, what good utility management means, and I think I bring to the table a new perspective. Certainly, transparency is something I want to be involved with. I want you as the public to be able to tell me what you like or don't like or what you would like to see done. Thank you.
And I have one more announcement, and then I know we'll get to what you really want, just to figure out who's going to win the ugly sweater contest. There's one more person I have to introduce, and that will be your council person who's running with us for District 4, Ms. Susan Bodorf.
Well, I don't have speech, but I want to run to be a voice and a vote for people of Charlestown in my district. You know, the Bible tells us we're supposed to take care of the poor and the widow, and that's not happening. And we need to come together as a group, as a town, families. We need to come back together. I've seen since Bob Hall's been in office just the division in families because of politics. And when I moved to Charlestown in 1993, I think it was, I loved it here. Bobby Braswell was in office. It was family. And then all that happened, and we need to get back to town. We need to get back to our town and stand up for what we believe, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? I mean, we can sit and talk and talk and talk, but until someone stands up and say, here I am, send me, nothing's going to get done. So I just hope to be a voice for my district. I'm married to Clark Butoff. My father-in-law's Bruce. The little boy screaming is my grandson. My daughter Brittany Fisher and her husband is here tonight, Chad, and my two granddaughters. I have a son, Tim, who's 33 and married to my daughter-in-law, Mindy Barnes, and I have two grandchildren with them. Emery and Carter, 5 and 6, or 6 and 7. So that's all I've got to say. I love everybody. I just love people. So